Hi, good morning. My name is Father Rayappa. I've already made two segments on angelology. The first segment was a simple version, and the second segment was little deeper. Now this is the third segment. I think we dig much deeper. If I find more information, I have to make the fourth segment, but this is the third one. So, angels and angelology, Malachi, that's a Hebrew word. Angelos, that's a Greek word. So, angels is an English word. Actually, angelology has a long history. It goes way back to 4th century. The most influential Christian angelic hierarchy was that put forward by Pseudo Dionysius, the Areopagite, in the 4th or the 5th century. In his book, De Celesti Hierarchia, the English translation would be on the celestial hierarchy. So that's a famous book written by Dionysius. During the Middle Ages, many schemes were proposed, some drawing on and expanding on Pseudo Dionysius, others suggesting completely different classifications. According to medieval Christian theologians, the angels are organized into several orders or angelic choirs. Pseudo Dionysius on the celestial hierarchy and St. Thomas Aquinas' famous opera called Summa Theologica drew on passages from the New Testament, especially Ephesians chapter 1 verse 21 and Colossians chapter 1 16, to develop a schema of three hierarchies, spheres or triads of angels, with each hierarchy containing three orders or choirs. Although both authors drew on the New Testament, the biblical canon is relatively silent on the subject, and these hierarchies are considered less definitive than biblical material. So the first sphere has three classifications or choirs, that is, seraphim, cherubim, and thrones. The first sphere angels serve as the heavenly servants of God, the Son incarnated. Seraphim, in singular, seraph, literally translated burning ones. The word seraph is normally a synonym for serpents when used in the Hebrew Bible. Mentioned in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1 to 7, seraphim are the highest angelic class, and they serve as the caretakers of God's throne and continuously shout praises. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. According to Isaiah chapter 6, 1 to 8, the seraphim are described as fiery, six-winged beings. With two wings they cover their faces, with another two they cover their feet, and the last two they use to fly. Cherubim have four faces, one of a man, an ox, a lion, and an eagle, later adopted as the symbols of the four evangelists. They have four conjoined wings covered with eyes, a lion's body, and the feet of oxen. Cherubim guard the way to the tree of life in the Garden of Eden, Genesis chapter 3 verse 24, and the throne of God. Reference found in Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 14 to 16. The cherubim are mentioned in Genesis, Exodus, Chronicles, Ezekiel, 1 Kings, and Revelation, especially chapter 4 verse 6 to 8. Modern English usage has blurred the distinction between cherubim and putti. Putti are the often wingless human baby or toddler like beings traditionally used in figurative art. So Thomas Aquinas imagined Satan as the fallen cherub. The thrones in Greek, thronoi or thronos, literally translated as elders, or the class of celestial beings mentioned by Paul of Tarsus in Colossians chapter 1:16. They are living symbols of God's justice and authority and have as one of their symbols the throne. It is not unusual to find that the thrones are associated by some with the Ophanim or Erelim from the Jewish angelic hierarchy. However, there is very little evidence, if any, to sustain this idea. The Ophanim, which means in Hebrew wheels, also we can find reference from the visions of Daniel chapter 7 verse 9. They are unusual looking even compared to the other celestial beings. Plus, they are said to be moved by the spirit of other beings, which raises the question if the Ophanim are spiritual beings at all, or if they are purely material beings. They appear as a beryl-colored wheel within a wheel, their rims covered with hundreds of eyes. They are closely connected with the cherubim instead. When they moved, the others moved. When they stopped, the others stopped. And when they rose from the earth, the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures, cherubim was in the wheels. That is, we can find reference in Ezekiel chapter 10 verse 17. Christian theologians that include the thrones as one of the choirs don't describe them as wheels, describe them as adoring elder men who listen to the will of God and present the prayers of men. The 24 elders in the book of Revelation are usually thought to be part of this group of angels. Now we come to the second sphere. It has three classifications: dominions, virtues, powers. These are the angels of the second sphere. They work as heavenly governors of the creation by subjecting matter and guiding and ruling the spirits. Dominions simply means lordship. The dominions found in Ephesians chapter 1:21, Colossians 1:16. The meaning is dominatio. Plural is dominations. It's translated from the Greek term kyrios, or lordship, or dominations. They are presented as the hierarchy of celestial beings. Lordships in some English translations of the De Cieli hierarchia. The dominions regulate the duties of lower angels. It is only with extreme rarity that angelic lords make themselves physically known to humans. The dominions are believed to look like divinely beautiful humans with a pair of feathered wings, much like the common representation of angels. But they may be distinguished from other groups by wielding orbs of light fastened to the edge of their scepters or on the pommel of their swords. Virtues or strongholds. These angels are those through which signs and miracles are made in the world. The term appears to be linked to the attribute might from the Greek root dynamis in Ephesians 1:21, which is also translated as virtue or power. They are represented as the celestial choir virtues in the Summa Theologica. From Pseudo Dionysius, the Areopagite, the Cieli hierarchia. Here is a quote written by Dionysius in the 4th century. The name of the holy virtue signifies a certain powerful and unshakable virality welling forth into all their godlike energies, not being weak and feeble for any reception of the divine illuminations granted to it, mounting upward in fullness of power to an assimilation with God, never falling away from the divine life through its own weakness, but ascending unwaveringly to the super essential virtue, which is the source of virtue, fashioning itself, as far as it may, in virtue, perfectly turned towards the source of virtue, and flowing forth providentially to those below it, abundantly filling them with virtue. Powers or authorities. The powers or authorities from the Greek exousia or exousia. The primary duty of the powers is to supervise the movements of the heavenly bodies in order to ensure that the cosmos remains in order. Being warrior angels, they also oppose evil spirits, especially those that make use of the matter in the universe and often cast evil spirits to detention places. These angels are usually represented as soldiers wearing full armor and helmet, and also having defensive and offensive weapons such as shields and spears or chains, respectively. The powers are the bearers of conscience and the keepers of history. They are also the warrior angels created to be completely loyal to God. Some believe that no power has ever fallen from grace, but another theory states that Satan was the chief of the powers before he fell. We find reference in Ephesians chapter 6:12. Their duty is to oversee the distribution of power among humankind, hence they are named powers. Paul used the term rule and authority in Ephesians 1:21 and rulers and authorities in Ephesians 3:10. He may have been referring to the rulers and authorities of humanity instead of referring to angels. The third sphere, there are three classifications: principalities, archangels, and angels. Angels who function as heavenly guides, protectors, and messengers to human beings. Principalities or rulers. The principalities, Latin root principati, also translated as princedoms, and rulers, from the Greek archai, plural arche, are the angels that guide and protect nations or groups of peoples and institutions such as the church. The principalities preside over the bands of angels and charge them with fulfilling the divine ministry. These are some who administer and some who assist. The principalities are shown wearing a crown and carrying a scepter. Their duty also is said to be to carry out the orders given to them by the upper sphere angels and bequeath blessings to the material world. Their task is to oversee groups of people. They are the educators and the guardians of the realm of earth. Like beings related to the world of the germinal ideas, they are said to inspire living things to many things such as art or science. Paul used the term rule and authority in Ephesians 1:21 and rulers and authorities in Ephesians 3:10. Now we come to archangels. The word archangel comes from the Angelos, meaning chief angel, a translation of the Hebrew malaka. It derives from the Greek archein, meaning to be first in rank or power. Angelos, which means messenger or envoy. The word is only used twice in the New Testament. That is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4:16 and St. Jude chapter 1:9. Only the archangel Michael is mentioned by name in the New Testament. In most Christian traditions, Gabriel is also considered an archangel. There is no direct literal support for this assumption. It is also worth noting that the term archangel appears only in the singular, never plural, and only in specific reference to Michael. The name of the archangel Raphael appears only in the book of Tobit or Tobias. Tobit is considered deuterocanonical by Roman Catholics, both Eastern and Western rites, Eastern Orthodox Christians and Anglicans. The book of Tobit is not, however, acknowledged by most Protestant denominations, such as Reformed Christians or Baptists. Raphael said to Tobias that he was one of the seven who stand before the Lord, and it is generally believed that Michael and Gabriel or two of the other six. The fourth angel is Uriel, whose name literally means light of God. Uriel's name is the only one not mentioned in the New Testament. King James Version Bible but plays, however, a prominent role in an apocryphon read by Anglican and Russian Orthodox Christians, the second book of Esdras, fourth books of Esdras in the Latin Vulgate. In the book, he unveils 7 prophecies to the prophet Ezra, after whom the book is named. He also plays a role in the apocryphal book of Enoch, which is considered canonical by both the Ethiopian Orthodox and Eritrean Orthodox churches. Another possible interpretation of the 7 archangels is that these 7 are the 7 spirits of God that stand before the throne described in the book of Enoch and the book of Revelation. The 7 archangels are said to be the guardian angels of nations and countries and are concerned with the issues and events surrounding these, including politics, military matters, commerce, and trade. Example, Archangel Michael is traditionally seen as the protector of Israel and of ecclesia, root ecclesia in Greek, from the New Testament passages, theologically equated as the church, the forerunner of the spiritual New Israel. It is possible to make a distinction between archangels, that is, with the lower case, small letter archangel, and archangel with capital letter A with an upper case A. The former can denote the second lowest choirs, archangels, in the sense of being just above the lowest choirs of angels, that is called only angels. So small letter archangel, which means in other words simply angels. But the latter with capital letter A may denote the highest of all the angels, that is archangels, in the sense of being above all angels of any choir. The 7 highest, Seraphim, Michael being the highest of all. The last category is angels, in Hebrew Malachim, in plain Greek Angelos, which means messenger or envoy. They are the lowest order of the angels and the most recognized. They are the ones most concerned with the affairs of living things. Within the category of the angels, there are many different kinds with different functions. The angels are sent as messengers to humanity. Personal guardian angels come from this class. Personal guardian angels are not of a separate order, but rather come from the order of angels. It is a common belief that they are assigned to every human being, Christian or not. It is unknown whether they guard multiple humans during their existence or just one, but the latter is a more typical opinion. So, I think we are happy about angelology. I think I'm going to do more research in angelology, and as I find resources, I can bring them and I can make another segment later on. You can watch on YouTube. Anyway, thank you. I wish you all happy with angels, your guardian angels.